Recording in progress.
Good evening. Welcome to the Universal Joy Center. I'm Barbara Jean. Let us join together in consciousness as we begin this evening's service. There's a power in the universe that's infinite, creative, and intelligent. This energy is omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence. Everywhere at all times. And it's right here where I am. It's right there where you are. This energy is powerful, positive, and productive. It is something that is active within each and every one of us. And as we turn to it, there's a shift that occurs. A change. One that's positive and productive and uplifting. So I know tonight as we gather together that whatever it is that we need to know, whatever it is we decide to see, it is fully present for us. And with a grateful heart, I let these ideas go into the law of mind where I know it is done. All is well. And together we say, and so it is. And our land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation and peace, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet on these sacred lands. We thank the generations of people who've taken care of this land for thousands of years. We recognize our oneness, we realize our history, and we choose to create a new reality. We are one. Miigwech. Well, today the talk is the courage to think a new thought. I know that shouldn't take courage, right? It's funny how it does, though. Sometimes we just need to, just really suck it up a little bit so we can end up getting it out. But the courage to think. I'm really glad you're here. And tonight we're talking about something that sounds so simple, really, but maybe one of the bravest acts a human being can perform. And that's the courage to think a new thought. Not just positive thinking or not pretending everything is fine, but daring to step beyond the familiar patterns of mind that have shaped our life. Because here's the truth. Most of us don't suffer because we
Recording
don't know
in
better.
progress.
We suffer because the old thoughts feel safer
Welcome to the Universal
than the
Joy
unknown.
Center. So when the recording
Even
goes on,
painful
we'll
thoughts
start.
can feel a little
Recording
bit like
in
home.
progress.
So why does change cause us so much problems? Why
Welcome
does
to
it
the
feel
Universal Joy.
dangerous? Well, our brain loves predictability. It doesn't just ask, is this joyful or is this familiar? So if we've practiced thoughts like, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, nothing ever works out for me, people leave me, nobody likes me, money is hard, I always struggle. Well, the mind builds pathways around them. You've heard of dendrites in the brain, or maybe you haven't, but it's the grooves in the brain, and those are caused by the habits, the things that we follow. And when a new thought appears, one that suggests possibility, the system reacts as if something is wrong. Not because it's wrong, but because it's unfamiliar. And you've probably heard people talking about, easy to, try to get out of that comfort zone is the hardest thing to do. But here's the thing, it's not comfortable. It's not a comfort zone. It's a familiar place. And there's a big difference between familiarity and comfort. So it does take courage to kind of step out. And, I was thinking about birds and, an eagle, a little baby eagle in its nest, and it's high up on a cliff, and it's been fed and warmed and protected. The nest is everything it knows. But then one day the mother eagle nudges it toward the edge. And, with its resistance, the little eagle tries to resist and, maybe screams like, stay here, this is safe. But the edge gets closer and closer. And then finally, there's no more nest beneath its feet. It falls. But in that terrifying moment, something ancient awakens. The wings open, the air catches, the falling becomes flying. The sky was always there, but flight required stepping off what felt secure. Well, new thoughts are kind of like that. They're like that first flight. When we release an old belief, there's often a brief free fall. You know, who am I without this story? And what if I fail? What if I hope and get hurt again? What if I become someone different? Yes, exactly. You will become someone different. You'll become someone freer. I mean, think about it for a minute. The journey that we're all on, like we've got a set of belief systems that we probably don't even know that we have or that we believe. Yeah. Because where did they come from? We didn't make them up. They came from parents, siblings, teachers, neighbors, friends. They came from all over the place. But here's the thing, that the hidden cost of that old thinking is that those patterns just don't limit us, they define us. And sometimes we hold on to suffering because it gives us identity. I'm the strong one, I'm the victim, I'm the one who always sacrifices, I'm the one who struggles. But Spirit is not committed to your old identity. Spirit is committed to your expansion. See, there are no limits for us. We are all on this journey of finding our true self and waking up to that, waking up to the potential that's within us. So let me share just a little story here. A woman goes to the doctor complaining of terrible foot pain. He examined her and said, "Your shoes are 2 sizes too small." She said, "I know." Confused, he asked, "Then why don't you get bigger shoes?" She replied, "Because at the end of the day, taking them off is the only pleasure I have." Whoa. So we laugh, but how often do we do this psychologically? We tolerate tight beliefs, painful stories, limiting identities because relief feels like joy. But imagine a life where you didn't have to hurt to feel good. So in the science mind, we understand that thought is creative, belief is directive, and consciousness is causative. Life mirrors our dominant mental equivalent. And a mental equivalent is, kind of what we believe about a certain thing. So it'd be a little bit like taking a measuring cup and putting in half a cup of water. You've got room for a full cup, right? But you don't have room for 2 cups, right? The mental equivalent is the cup. So you could put in more, but you can't put in double. It won't fit. So a new life doesn't begin with new circumstance, it begins with a new thought, sustained long enough to become a new inner reality. So what's this courage about? Well, courage is willing to look at something that frightens us a bit, that we're not sure about. It's something that, it isn't loud, it isn't bravado. Often courage sounds like a whisper. Maybe I can heal. Maybe I'm worthy. Maybe things could be easier. Maybe I don't have to live this way anymore. Courage is allowing that thought to stay even when the old ones protest. So when we first decide to make a big change, and I know I shared with you a few weeks ago that I made a big change in my life when my boss threatened to fire me because I had a bad attitude. Well, that was encouragement enough for me to go and make a change. So I turned around because I thought, I can't get fired. That's not an option. And so instead, I turned around and I started doing personal development work. I started on this path of waking up a little bit, of figuring out who I really am, and then changing the way I behave to match the new ideas. Now, was that easy? Not really. Was it comfortable? Absolutely not. It was incredibly uncomfortable. But I started doing new things immediately because I knew if I didn't, I would lose my job. And like I said before, that wasn't an option. My dad taught me, you got to work hard to earn a living, and, you got to do everything for the boss and whatever. Luckily, I don't believe all that anymore. But the reality is that for that time I did. And when my boss threatened to fire me, it was like a no brainer. And I started changing everything. I changed the way I dressed, I changed the way I showed up. I made sure I was smiling rather than miserable. I didn't gripe and complain constantly. And when I saw somebody wandering the halls, because I worked at a company that had like 1,000 employees, so you often see people you don't know, but you've seen them around. And I would comment on somebody's lovely new haircut or beautiful new outfit or, what a great smile or whatever. Just saying nice things, holding a door open for someone. There were so many things that I was able to do that were just subtle little things. But whoa, did they make a difference. When I first started doing it, it was excruciating. I felt really uncomfortable. I thought for sure I would humiliate myself. But what I found was every time I said something nice to someone, they smiled and thanked me or returned the favor by saying something kind to me. And so it didn't take very long before I caught on that if I behave differently, the world around me matches my new behavior. So courage is really about taking that step into the unknown and doing the different thing, the thing that we're kind of afraid to do. And the gap between the old and the new, that transition space, kind of a psychological open water. It's not the old shore, and it's not the new one, and this is where often we turn back. But this is where transformation happens. Because in this space, we're no longer defined by the past. We become available to possibility. And that is a really great place to be. After I, got over my bad attitude, I ended up receiving a promotion shortly thereafter to work on a new weekly newspaper that we were launching. And myself and one other person, the two of us, headed up the department. And what we did in that first year had not been done by anyone else in the country, and yet every major newspaper in the country launched the same newspaper at the same time. But ours was the only one that succeeded right off the top. We had $1 million in new revenue and hundreds of new accounts that came as a result of this new weekly newspaper. So her and I won the President's Award for Seldom Inc. as a result of the work that we did. That happened because I had the courage to think a new thought and then to behave in a new way and to begin to believe in my own self for a change. So we want to really look at what it is we believe to be right and true in the world. And then we want to look at how we change it. Because as we acknowledge that there is only one thing going on and we are all some part of it, it's up to us to recognize that. And then from there to make sure that everything we're doing moves us into a greater place of possibility. So what does it look like to think a new thought this week? Well, not forcing, not straining, just allowing. Maybe instead of, I'll never figure this out, you try, something in me knows the way. Yeah, something in me knows the way. That's easy. I don't need to figure it all out. I can just repeat that over and over again. Instead of, I'm alone, I could say, support finds me now. I am supported. Instead of, I can't, I could say, I'm learning how. I'm learning how. Pretty simple. don't you think? Yeah. So small shifts, but they do create a huge impact because consciousness responds not to perfection, but to direction. Yeah. So what is the direction that you've got going on in your life? In what ways are you moving your life forward? In what ways are you creating that space for possibility? You see, it's up to us. It's up to us to create the space for that to happen. And it does take courage. Imagine that you're going up to a door that opens inward and you're looking at it from the outside and there's no handle. And it's confusing, right? You might stand there for a few minutes going, how do I open this thing? Well, it can only be opened from within. And that's how new life works. No one can push you into it. No circumstance can force it. And no amount of advice can create it. It opens when you decide. Even trembling to think different about yourself, your past, your future, your worth. That's where we're at. We're at this place of discovering something new about ourselves, creating a new possibility for what life might hold for us. And instead of looking at what's always happened or the way it's always been, we interrupt that story. We stop telling it. And instead, we sit in the place of possibility and allow ourselves to think a new thought. So let's go into a brief meditation. I want to invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. And let's just take a deep breath together. And as you exhale, just allowing your body to rest into your seat a little more comfortably, possibly. Maybe place your feet on the floor. And take another deep breath in. And one more deep breath. And I want you to imagine that you've got this big backpack in your bedroom. And you're filling it up. You're filling it up with all of the things you no longer need. And by things, I mean thoughts. You're putting in there ideas of limitation, value, all the negative things you were taught or that you learned about yourself, that you started to believe about yourself. Just take all of that stuff and put it in the backpack. And when the backpack's full, put it on your back and let's take a walk. And we're walking out of our homes and walking down to a park. And in the middle of this park is a little creek. And I invite you just to sit beside the creek, maybe kick your shoes and socks off and rest your feet in the water, feeling the nice coolness of it on this beautiful warm day. And just enjoy the surroundings. Imagine how grateful you are for the sun touching your skin, a bird singing in the trees, the sound of the leaves rustling as a breeze catches it, or the way that breeze cools your skin ever so slightly. What a beautiful feeling. What a beautiful opportunity. Now take some time and dry your feet off and put your socks and shoes back on. And as you get up to leave, take your backpack, unzip it, and pour out the contents. Watch the breeze just carry it all away. And when your backpack is empty, put it back on your back and start walking back. Imagine how light it feels, how light you feel. Maybe there's a smile on your face as you journey along. And as we come back into this room and back into this space, I invite you to just wiggle your toes. And when you feel ready, just opening your eyes. So tonight, I invite you to consider, where is life nudging you toward the edge? Not to harm you, not to abandon you, but because you're ready. You're not losing a place of comfort, you're discovering freedom. And the moment you dare to think a new thought, life rushes in to meet you. Yes, life rushes in to meet you. Repeat after me. I'm learning how. Support is here now. Something in me knows the way. Because consciousness responds not to perfection, but to direction. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy, and my pronouns are she, her. Before we close, I want to name something gently and with a smile. If belief is the builder, then generosity is one of the ways we show life what we trust. Giving isn't payment, it's participation. It's us saying, I believe this matters. I believe in what's being built here. I believe there's enough. And if you don't feel moved by tonight, no pressure at all. That's just information, not a failure. But if you do feel a quiet yes, this is one of the ways belief becomes visible. So please repeat our abundance affirmation after me. As I give, so I receive. My good now flows to me in a steady, unbroken, ever-increasing stream of success, happiness, and abundance. I am blessed. Blessings abound for all life everywhere. I am grateful. And the ways you can give is you can do an e-transfer to admin@ujoyc.ca. You can click donate on our website at ujoyc.ca. Or you can even mail a check to Universal Joy Center, 28 Sir Raymond Drive, Toronto, Ontario, M1E1C2. And I just want to let you know that we have many opportunities for you to join us. We've got classes, events, and general information will be found on our website at ujoyc.ca, plus the link to our Wednesday gatherings. For those of you watching through Facebook or YouTube, Please join us now for questions and ahas on Zoom. The link is in the chat. Now Barbara will do a closing treatment. When she returns, there she is.
Just have to turn my camera on. All right, let us join together in consciousness as we close tonight's service and get ready for our conversation. Within the infinite and the absolute, I find life, I find possibility, opportunity. So I relax completely, knowing that there's one power and presence in the universe. It's infinite, intelligent, creative, everywhere present equally. As I relax into that idea and that truth, I know that it is right here, being me, that I am one with it. And it is in that oneness that I discover strength and wisdom, courage, passion. And I stand up in this moment and I allow myself to discover something truly wonderful in my life and in my experience by changing my thinking. I do it easily and comfortably. I do it with affirmations and with patience, with love and compassion. I do it with kindness and understanding. And I trust myself completely. It is in that love, that self-trust, that I know that this week I am opening doors from the inside. I see my potential, possibility, and I'm excited and delighted by it. I know who I am and where I'm headed, and I know that good follows me wherever I go. So I take a breath, a sigh of relief, knowing that good is right here, right now. So filled with love and light, peace and joy, I release these ideas into the law of mind. It is done. All is well and good, and I let that be my truth. And together we say, and so it is. And now